the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It is the height of sports car endurance racing. Some call it the most important automobile race on the planet. Others call it the only race that matters. Each year since 1923, racers have gathered at France's Circuit de la Sarthe to compete in a brutal test of racing fortitude. A race 6 times longer than the Indianapolis 500 and 18 times that of any Formula One Grand Prix. A race that demands a Herculean team effort just to finish, let alone win it. A race whose global renown upstages whatever racing series has ever tried to claim it. It is, and will always ever be, Le Mans. Drivers spend 85% of the race at full throttle, stressing components to the max and challenging the limits of their own physical endurance. All the while sustaining average speeds of 140 miles per hour, hour after hour, lap after grueling lap, racking up enough miles to get from New York to Los Angeles in one day. In its early days, Circuit de la Sarthe was a simple triangle leading from the ancient Roman city of Le Mans, south to the town of Mulsanne, northwest to the village of Arnage, and back north, returning to Le Mans. Today's circuit follows largely the same route, comprising mostly public roads. But over the years, the track itself, now 8.5 miles long, has been modified as the cars evolved and their speeds increased. The old White House section gave way to the Porsche curves. The 3.7-mile Mulsanne Straight, where the highly powered prototype cars once hit 250 miles per hour, is now tempered by chicanes. Le Mans lost its innocence many times over the years, as one great driver after another succumbed to the risk of hurtling through space at great speeds. But no tragedy could ever top the devastating crash in 1955 that killed 83 spectators and driver Pierre Levay in a hellish storm of metal and fire. In the years that followed, some Le Mans traditions fell to safety concerns. The iconic Le Mans start was one of them. A mad dash to the cockpit that often left drivers' harnesses undone as they blasted away at full throttle. Now drivers start the race strapped safely inside their cars. Le Mans also gave the racing world some new traditions. It was 1967 winners Dan Gurney and A.J. Foyt who first sprayed champagne instead of merely drinking it as they celebrated atop the podium. Even in its 90th year, Le Mans remains the ultimate measure of speed, stamina, and technical intelligence known to the world of motorsports. And so, another year at Le Mans, with spectators lugging tents and sleeping bags and bottles of champagne. The rest of the world will watch as drivers suit up and engineers glance anxiously at spreadsheets while fuelers practice their Baroque pit lane dance one last time. This is the 24 Hours of Le Mans. This is history. This is racing.
Audi, since its debut in 1999, is the current brand of dominance at the Le Mans 24. 11 overall wins and counting, second only to Porsche's 15. 3 optimized hybrid diesel Audi R18 e-tron Quattro are the battle wagons built to continue the Audi tradition of winning, to create their own 25 hours of Le Mans, the twice-around-the-clock race, plus the winner's podium celebration. Optimized is the word Audi uses to define the 2013 car. Maximized improvements in aerodynamics, most notably the long-tail design, but also a host of extensive detail enhancements, including an F1-style engine exhaust-blown rear diffuser underbody, and weight, examples being the sophisticated carbon tub and the composite transaxle gear case, all to allow for the addition of the e-tron hybrid systems. And power, the 2013 model, 120-degree V6 diesel TDI is improved to the point that the ACO FIA invoked last-minute balance of performance benefits to give the Toyota a better chance to compete. Efficiency is a trademark of the Audi TDI performance. The e-tron system takes optimization to an even higher level, allowing efficiency to remain one of the stronger weapons in the Audi arsenal to beat the competition and win another Le Mans 24. Head of Audi Motorsport, Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, defines the hybrid diesel R18 e-tron Quattro best. There's hardly another motorsport discipline in which the creativity of the engineers is rewarded as highly as it is with the Le Mans prototypes. The hybrid diesel Audi R18 e-tron Quattro, 3 of them in the hands of their veteran champions, Alan McNish and Tom Christensen, or their young guns, 2012 Le Mans 24 champions Marcel Fassler, Andre Lauderer, and Benoit Trullier, remain the logical favorites for the 2013 race. And the intriguing part of this whole R18 exercise is that, be it engineering, design, materials, or other facets of car build, many ideas from Audi Motorsport will continue to influence Audi's production vehicles, optimizing their lightweight, power, efficiency, safety, aero, and more. Paul Newman, James Garner, Steve McQueen did a Le Mans movie, but you're on a quest to go to Le Mans.
Right, have gone to Le Mans, so it's nice to be going back to Le Mans. You look at Newman was second there and drove very well. I mean, that's it for endurance racing. Le Mans is the ultimate.
Did that inspire Dempsey Racing, or where did this whole thing come from?
Lunacy, I think, was the thing that inspired me, because to be a team owner is a lot of work. I mean, we spend 90% of our time hustling for money. It's harder than the film business in many ways. It just sort of fell into place. It started out with what was Hypersport at the time. It was sort of going under, and I had an opportunity to come in and buy a lot of the assets and to go racing, and then one thing led to the next, and suddenly I found myself as a team owner. And thank God I was partnered with somebody who understands the business as well as Joe Foster does.
So I got into racing because I saw Grand Prix with James Garner. Did those movie guys inspire you, or was it something separate?
No, not so much. I grew up racing. My dad was a car owner, short track racer in Maryland. We were always big fans of racing, you know, Indy 500, Formula One, all those races, Daytona, all that stuff. So I've always been a fan of racing. And then I had an opportunity to go get my certificate, my SCCA, because my wife got tired of me watching races on the weekend. And so I went up to Skip Barber's class, his school, at the Mazda Raceway. And then I came down here about 10 years ago and started doing the Panos Racing School. And that's how I got started racing in their series, and then got the bug completely from there. Because what happens with those schools, and I think it's the best way to go racing, is that you get your SCCA license, they give you the technique that you need, and then they go off into those series are great. And that's how it got started. Then I got deeper and deeper into it.
When you approach the work of acting, your mindset, is it the same as when you approach racing the car?
I think there are a lot of similarities to being private in a public world that apply. Certainly, like, you see the energy and all of that that's going on here. You have to disengage and really focus on what you're doing in that moment consistently, and not worrying about what happened in the past or what's happening in the future, but what's happening right here and right now. And I think a lot of that training, a lot of those skills that I've developed over the years, acting, helped me tremendously in the car. Conditioning is the next big thing, because then that supports your mental approach and the consistency mentally, and then seat time and experience.
Last question. I could argue that managing a career in acting is probably similar to managing a career in racing. What would you tell a young racer to manage his or her career that you've learned from acting?
Well, I think certainly the more education you have, the better off you're going to be, whether it be business or marketing, and certainly engineering. I think all those things really will help you in a career. How you deal with the media is really important because your sponsors are looking for a presentation, so you have to handle yourself in that way, and you have to develop all those sides of your personality. And you have to be in the car, and you have to be good. You have to be, having results.
And not to play Can You Top This, but I'd argue tenacity or maybe survival. Talk to me about that in your world.
You have to want it more than anything else. There is no failure. You can't accept failure. You can't accept defeat. You have to really believe or have the desperation to not quit. And I think that's what I've just survived because there was no other alternative. I had to succeed.
Perfect. Your team's about to qualify for Petite. We'll let you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
When you think of Le Mans, you think about Porsche. They've won the famed endurance race a record 16 times. But the past 3 years have been difficult. Their top-of-the-line production-based sports car is the RSR, and the aged 997 platform hasn't seen a major victory at the Le Mans circuit since 2010. In fact, in the past 6 years, Porsche has only had 2 class victories, the other in 2007. The last time they were on the top step was with Alan McNish, now of Audi fame, back in 1998 with the GT1. And even then, the 90s didn't have many results. The bulk of Porsche's dominance was back in the 80s. But for 2013, things are changing. For this year, we finally see a new Porsche GT car on track, the 991 RSR. The new platform is a little longer, but its power plant is nearly identical to last year's 997. Factory drivers are saying the new car does have an advantage though in high-speed corners, and the aerodynamics are vastly improved. The new car is in the hands of Team Manthey of Nürburgring fame, but this isn't a customer racing program, it's a factory-supported effort in GTE Pro. Their primary car, the number 91, is running in WEC with Jörg Bergmeister and Timo Bernhard. For Le Mans, Patrick Pilet joins them. The sister car, the number 92, has 3 more factory drivers, Lieb, Lietz, and Dumont. If that list of factory drivers doesn't surprise you, it should, especially as this is the 50th anniversary of the 911. Absent this year, the Flying Lizards. A dominant force for the past 8 years in the American Le Mans Series, they've moved down to the GTC class for 2013. Patrick Long, the only American Porsche factory driver, once with the Lizards, joins Dempsey Racing Proton with Patrick Dempsey and Joe Foster in the GTE AM class for Le Mans. But the plot thickens. Just last week, Porsche released these photos of their new LMP entry racing around their test track in Weissach, set to compete against Audi and Toyota in 2014. So 2 new cars in 2 years, each in separate classes. Could Porsche's dominance continue into the next decade? Could they regain the success they once had in the 80s? Only time will tell.
Ralph Gilles, president and CEO of SRT, defined the reasons for the return of Viper to the racetrack. His reference to Riley is Riley Technologies, the storied race car builder that handles the construction and racing of the 2 new SRT Viper GTSRs. Return to Le Mans was the logical extension of the new Viper program, as the car dominated its GT class with 3 straight years of winning in 1998, 99, and the year 2000. And Viper was a truly international racer back then. In addition to Le Mans, Viper took home 3 Nürburgring 24 wins, 2 Spa 24 wins, victories at Daytona, Sebring, the Petit Le Mans, GT championships in France, Italy, Belgium, and 5 FIA GT Series crowns. Viper, now and then, does its racing the old-fashioned way. First, a close connection to street car design, making the GTSR race car an extension of technology you can buy. And second, when racing demands more speed, Viper's answer is good old-fashioned big motor cubic inches or liters. 8 liters of V10 power go up against the much smaller displacements of its Corvette, Ferrari, Porsche, and Aston Martin competition at Le Mans, and BMW in the American Le Mans Series. The GTE rules say only 5.5 liter maximum engine size, like on the Corvette. But the FIA ACO grant Viper a technical waiver because they want Viper to race with them so dearly. The big engine is compromised with a highly restricted air intake to create a balance of performance. And while it chokes Viper down on revs and horsepower way below its potential, it cannot take away the advantage the big V10 has in torque. So acceleration off the corners is a Viper strength. And fans can clearly recognize the low-throated Viper roar versus a Ferrari scream or Porsche revs. Aerodynamics are maximized for low drag at Le Mans. Weight has been coming down and redistributed around the car to create better handling. Advanced race car design, suspension configuration, tuning, and component technologies make Viper an ever stronger threat to win again. The Toyota TS030 Hybrid LMP1 car stands a good chance to win the 2013 Le Mans 24 endurance race. And yet, everything about this Toyota at the Le Mans 24 speaks the word loser. Have I got your attention now? But it's not what it seems. Let me explain. The Toyota TS030 was spawned from the losing Toyota F1 project. At Le Mans, the TS030 represents 16 years of Toyota losing the 24-hour race. Way back in 1985, Toyota started coming to Le Mans to win with some phenomenally memorable race cars. The 85 to 94 CV series cars, the Toyota Supra, a V8 MR2, the TS010, and the infamous TS020 Toyota GT1, the last Le Mans competitor for Toyota, but it lost the 1999 race. Audi's arrival in 1999 may have had something to do with Toyota's decision to quit Le Mans, and everything to do with Toyota's decision to return in 2012. Toyota knows to be a global leader, you have to fight and win like one. Accept loss, learn from it, then fight the best to be the best. At the 2012 Le Mans 24, however, Toyota was pressed into the role of Audi's main rival before it wanted, because Le Mans and the entire World Endurance Championship lost Peugeot from its roster of competitors. So while Toyota led the race at one point, in the end, Audi prevailed and Toyota lost again. And still, the Toyota TS030 Hybrid has proven itself a formidable, hyper-sophisticated race car. Born from the cumulative knowledge of Toyota Motorsport GmbH, once known as Toyota Team Europe, this is the team responsible for the design, engineering, and racing of the World Championship Rally Celicas, the Toyota GT1 at Le Mans, and the 2002 through 2009 Toyota F1 team effort. Toyota Motorsport has the talent and know-how to win. TMG F1 experience spawned the aerodynamic genius of the Toyota TS030, the beautiful carbon composite construction of this car, the packaging of components including the hybrid drive system, and the team's rapid update capability that has seen the car evolve quickly with a constant stream of new pieces. A 3.4-liter normally aspirated petrol-fueled V8 produces 530 horsepower. The next 300 horsepower comes from the electric motor, charged by regenerative braking into a supercapacitor for quicker energy capture and discharge. The V8 hybrid system powers the rear wheels only, giving the Toyota the advantage, per ACO FIA rules, to be able to use hybrid at any speed. Le Mans represents for Toyota a validation of its hybrid leadership and gives that achievement a spirit and personality way beyond what any Prius sales record or driving experience could. As such, because of its racing record at Le Mans and most recently in F1, Toyota almost has no choice but to win this 24-hour race, which makes it all the more fun to watch this very cool car fight for victory.
For sure, it's a huge advantage to have a temporary quattro. Everybody knows, like, four-wheel drive is a lot more traction. So at the pre-test, we got a taste of it, and and I can tell you it's a big advantage because when we when we accelerate out of the slow speed corners, before the quattro comes in, there's not a lot of traction, and then when it comes in, there's a big help. So I think we're in a really good position if it starts to be wet. So obviously it's not nice for everybody. It's very demanding to race in the wet at Le Mans. The downside of our system obviously is also the braking. We have the engine and the motors on the front axle, and when we brake, they recuperate more, and sometimes when the grip surface is very low, it's easier to lock the wheels, so you have to be very accurate with your driving style and to make the most out of it and not get into a mistake. But this is something we can control with the system which we've been working really hard on, and so at the test it proved that it worked well. Yes, we drove in the rain, and obviously any corner above 120 kilometers per hour, you will benefit from mid to exit on the acceleration. Porsche curves, it's a bit faster, so it's more flowing. So the percentage of acceleration is not as high as if you would just exit a corner out of with 120. But still, you feel more confident even there to pin it and then just to have a better traction.
We had to find, to do a big step. You know, we saw at the end of last year that Toyota was very strong, very quick, and we are not talking only about Le Mans now. We are talking about the World Championship, and of course you need reliability for Le Mans, but you need performance for the other races. And we worked really hard during the winter to increase our performance, to find some tenths, seconds, you know, everywhere. So it's really hard, you know, when you start from one-year-old car, and you have to keep this car, but you have to improve a lot in terms of performance. You have to work on every details, and I think there the engineers have done and the mechanics have done a very good job. Basically, you have a little more switches, you know, to understand and to work with for the hybrid system, to configure everything, and then basically also the car changed a lot compared to last year. Okay, we had an Ultra, but even the e-tron car was exactly the same. You know, it was only the hybrid system on. Now we have also a brand new car. You know, everybody works really hard in terms of aero package, of all sort of things. I mean, they improved the hybrid system also to get a little bit more performance. We have a brand diffuser, so it's a lot of new things. So at the end, the car compared to last year is much better to drive. Easier, there's more overall grip, you feel a little bit more power. So for a driver, it's pretty cool to drive now. I joined Le Mans in 2008 for the first time. Then since 2009 I'm here every year. 2010 I'm here every year. And to know that just a few years after you started here in Le Mans, you are able to join Audi and being teammate with Alan McNish and Tom Christensen, which are big reference here in Le Mans. And Tom won 8 times, Alan twice. It's for sure it's something special, so I'm really proud of it. But then at the end, there are racing drivers like I am, and we just try to go the same way, to push as much as we can, and to be able to win. So it's for sure I learned a lot from them. But I hope also in the other side that, you know, I'm from another generation, so maybe I can bring something to the team. So I would say that both ways we try to help each other. as I said before, Le Mans it's not really a performance thing, you know. We saw last year that both car number 1 and car number 2 did few mistakes, you know, during the race. So you know that if you do a race without any mistakes, you have a chance for a win, you know, even if you're not talking about performance. So that's the main thing. After, for sure, at the end, when it's close like 2010 with 13 seconds difference, every second counts, for sure. For the pit stop, when you restart from the pits, you know, the way you go in the pits, the way you go in the traffic, so it's important. And of course, when you are behind the steering, you try to maximize that time and that performance to make sure you don't lose time. But at the end, I think what we have to be careful and think about is to do a race without any problems. And you have to be safe enough in the traffic and also aggressive sometimes, because you cannot lose too much time. But you have to be aware that you have to be far away from the problems. You have to take care, you know. Here, I mean, it's easy to win 4, 5, 6 tenths a lap if you cross the yellow bananas on the chicanes, for example, or Tertre Rouge. But you do it 1, 2, it's okay. But if you do that the whole race, for sure you're gonna break the splitter. You can break the floor, and then you lose a lot of time. So at the end, it's not really good to take these kind of risks, because you're gonna lose more than what you win. So for sure you have to go away from those bananas and curbs to make sure that, I mean, it's much better for the reliability of the car, and that's the most important during 24 hours.
How much, there's been a lot of talk in the press about the blown diffuser. How much has that changed the handling of the car, especially in extreme conditions like wet?
You know, this is actually, actually help us for our aerodynamic. It's actually an aerodynamic tool which helps us a little bit to get a little bit more efficiency from the aerodynamic side, but it's not. It's not that we can feel it that much in the car. It just helps a little bit aerodynamic wise, and that's all. Actually, it's a little tool we have.
Do perhaps maybe then the long tail, does that affect? Is that more of an efficiency thing as well?
Yeah, it's more efficiency for sure. It's because we try to get as much top speed as possible without any drag, and long tail helps us a lot in this case. Also there, you know that in the end we have to have a really good aero balance in the car for the fast corners, like the Porsche corners, and therefore you need a well balanced. So you don't actually feel the long tail, but for sure it's a little piece, it's a tool, a little tool which helps us to balance the car with good efficiency on the straight, but still have enough drag, enough downforce in the Porsche corners. So therefore it's you cannot say when you are in the car that now it's completely different because you have the long tail. You have to balance it as well, you have to make a good setup, but once it's in the window, then it's really fast. You know, as a driver you always want to go the fastest possible and want to have new tires and get out and nail at the time. But yeah, it's a privilege to get the pole position, and it's worth to fight for it, but in the end it's only the race count. So if you are not really sorted with the setup, I think you have first to get concentrate on your setup to do there the right things, because you have to go after with this car for 24 hours in the race, into the race, and you need a good balanced car. So pole position will be a good thing if it happens, good, but in the end only the race count.
So you're still working on setup tonight then?
Yeah, we have to do we will try quite different things. It's important for us to know which direction we want to go. had some little issue yesterday with the setup, but nothing which we have to worry about it. But we were not that much not happy enough, I would say. We still have now time to make a good setup on the car, and we're pretty sure that we will find a good solution for the race.
Of course, Porsche is the sister brand of Audi, but there's so much competition within the group that they're going to want to arrive, and already in their first year be competitive. And I think it's going to be a great rivalry, both on and off track. Pushing the limits of the technology and the rules, but also on track, close fight. So I can't wait till they come in next year. I think it's only good for sports car racing, and also for Le Mans and Audi themselves.
It should be fantastic for racing. We're up in the press center just kind of bullshitting about it and trying to figure out where this fits. I mean, Peugeot was such a hard-fought rivalry, and we're still a little new with Toyota, but they always kind of say, you compete or you fight with your siblings maybe even more than you might against your chief rivals.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true. It's like an inter-team battle. You always want to beat your teammates. That's the first people you want to beat. And I think with sort of Audi and Porsche, you're going to get that same feeling. Neither company and neither brand's going to want to be beaten by their sister brand.
Sure.
So that's going to be, that doesn't mean we can take our eye off the ball and not focus on Toyota as well. But it does add that extra element, and I think it's just going to make the racing so competitive and so interesting, both as a spectator and a driver. We've got H this year, and I had him last year as well, and the great thing with him is he's won it, he's done it all before. He's very calm under pressure, and you need that. You need someone on the radio that's calm, knows exactly what they're doing, and as a driver it's great because it gives you that confidence. So far we've all been working very well as a team, which is key to winning Le Mans. Yeah, we raced together in Spa, but I mean, here in Le Mans it will be Luca's first time. It's Mark's, he's done it numerous times, he's won it before with Peugeot. So we've got a real mix of experience. Myself, it's my third time here, but as a team we've gelled really well. I think, it's not a disadvantage that we're less experienced than the rest. Of course Lucas has got to learn the track, and he's got to bring himself up to speed, but from what I saw in the pre-test, he did that already in 5 laps. So I think it's a great lineup, it's a real mix, and hopefully we can take the fight to not only Toyota but our teammates as well. It's really unclear at the moment. They gained 3 litres in fuel capacity. The big question mark is, does that 3 litres allow them to go an extra lap? We know they're already a lap, they can go a lap further than us because they have a much bigger fuel tank. The question is, does that 3 litres then allow them to do another lap on top of that? And they didn't show their hand at the test, so we're not sure going into the race. But if they can do 2 extra laps, that's a big performance advantage for them. Because it means we then have to go, for every lap longer they can go on fuel, we have to drive 0.6 of a second quicker per lap.
Really?
Yep. Because throughout the race they're going to save so much time because they're going to have to pit so much less. So, if it's 1 lap, we have to go drive every lap 0.6 seconds quicker. If it's 2, we double that to 1.2, and that's a lot of time to be trying to make up each lap.
I would imagine that's a bit of pressure too, because if they do have a hand to show, I doubt they'll show it before the flag drops and the race is going.
Yeah, I mean, we go into the race with a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of talk in the paddock that they're only able to do 1 more lap, but I think they're playing their cards very close to their chest, and that means we're going to have to approach the race with a full attack mentality and go out there and just push straight from the green line. Quite fortunate so far in testing, and the majority's been dry. The pre-test here was wet, and that was probably the first proper running I've done in the wet with the car. But I have to say, we seem to have a very good balance, and that's the important thing in the wet. Because if you've got quite a neutral car, or even a little bit of understeer, it gives the driver the confidence to push. The last thing you want is a car with a lot of oversteer, because then you really have to come back off the limit, just to make sure you don't make mistakes.
Sure.
Because we run the hybrid on the front, the power comes through the front. We're not allowed to activate the hybrid until 120 kilometers an hour. That's different for Toyota, where they run the hybrid on the rear. They can activate it as early in the corner as they like. So in dry conditions, I'd say it's a disadvantage for us because we have to wait longer to activate this booster power. But in the wet, because we get the power, the extra boost in the front, it's more of a benefit. But from our personal opinion, we'd like to get that boost as early as possible.
Well, the car is a very good evolution from last year. Last year was actually a revolution with the hybrid, etc. And we managed with many things to improve the car. The hybrid system is stronger. We got better aerodynamics, better efficiency down the straight, and the engine people didn't sleep either. We compensated with engine power, so we're very well prepared, and this is the maximum we can do. What the ACDO decided towards Toyota, we've been surprised, but nothing we can do about it. It's something for them to handle. Obviously, it's something positive, I guess, but we're doing the maximum we can, and we cannot influence what happens outside of our garage. Obviously, Toyota showed good performance last year, and you would expect that they learn even more and that they would do better. The pre-test, we were faster than them. Let's see if this was the real result and the real gap. And then there's a possibility that they do one lap more, which is a high possibility that they do one lap more, but maybe even 2 laps. And depending on these differences, the strategy will be very interesting. And let's see if we can compensate with speed or not.
You think they might get 2 laps out of the thing?
Well, it depends. They got those extra 3 liters. I mean, it doesn't mean the same thing for them than for us. For sure, with 3 liters we could do an extra lap because we're on a diesel. It consumes less, but our fuel tank is a lot smaller, so a lot of people get maybe confused. Why is a petrol car driving longer than the diesel? But it's because they have, I think, around 76 liters and we only have 58. So this is something people have to understand. But we will find out, I guess, in the race. Some people say they will not be able to do that extra lap with those 3 liters, but it's always a benefit, even if you carry that little bit of extra weight. Le Mans, there could be a safety car, there could be some situation here and there where you always benefit to have a bit more fuel in the car that could help you to do 1 extra lap. And over the distance, if it saves you 3, 4, 5 stops, it's worth a lot.
His death was confirmed on the Le Mans TV feed.
Where? Oh, fuck. Someone go to the news?
Simonson's still being assessed in hospital.
Oh, my God.
French newspapers are reporting it.
What do you want to do about it? Seriously. Mention it? Do we need to, do we linger on it? What do you want to do?
All right, we need to do something about.
So someone Google the guy to find out what his racing history is, please. He's Danish. Is that you?
Radio Le Mans hasn't mentioned it.
Are we still down? There's no history, right? Go to one of the sites. Oh, wait a minute. Is this his career results right there?
Wait.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, that pit stop was effed up. So, are we back?
He died. He did. They just announced it on Eurosport.
We can talk about technology. 30. We can talk about racing. We can talk about who should race. I believe we're back on.
Well.
So.
Okay.
Okay. Tell us. Well, then, when you know. I was just going to lead in, and then we can say something.
He was 33. A Danish racing driver, Alan Simonsen. Wow, we're down to 48 watching.
Signatech is off.
As a result of the crash
this
morning. So I'll just do the who, what, and where. And then we're back in, but whatever the feed is.
I'm going to take a break. I don't know. I did you see?
Yeah.
So Travis is on his way over?
Yeah. He was 33. He hadn't turned 34 yet. Wait a minute. Yeah. 78, 88, 98, 2008.
Can anyone find a picture of him? Type in Alan Simonsen Le Mans 213 and see if we get a real picture.
Yeah, we're losing people like.
Is that him?
Might be him.
He was not in a car. Shit, I can't tell either. Let's use that one. Okay, do your best.
Stop it and start it again. It's going to make a new link.
So the internet, JF says internet's down at the Audi, what do you call Audi Press Center? Internet and cell service?
Watch this.
Oops.
Did someone reply to JF?
I just did.
Reply to him. He's asking about the
I just replied.
driver.
Yeah, he said a lot of crying, and they shut down the crying. At Aston Martin's garage and Paddock Club is shut down.
Well, we're back, and the race continues. I apologize again for our little technical difficulty, but the story is deeper than that. Michael?
Yeah, I mean, it's the worst thing that could happen in a race. 33-year-old driver Alan Simonson was killed in the crash that happened within the first 10 minutes or so of the race. This is one of the things that drivers sort of always keep in the back of their mind, but they don't, it's never mentioned. It's never said until it happens. I spoke to JF, and he's in Le Mans. He said the paddock scene there is just they're devastated. They're absolutely devastated.
Our prayers with everyone. The reality of racing is one continues.
Yep.
You race with a certain denial and a certain confidence that it won't be you. I'm sure Alan, who's had a good and healthy career, racing in Europe, Danish. There's not much to say. Everyone, prayers to think about it all and do the best we can. And I'm sure his family, any condolences would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to say other than the fact that in the modern racing world, it's not something that we see as much as they used to see back in the early 60s especially, but later on in the safety era. It's never easy, but it is one of those things that it's always there. Looming.
It's not the time to get into the discussion or debate. There is a certain danger, obviously, to racing, but one death is one too many in racing, and I'm sorry, that's just the way it should be.
Yeah.
So we have to transition back to a little bit of the action. I know Aston Martin, the team, is continuing, heavy heart and all,
yep.
and we're going to do the same thing. We're 20 and a half hours left to go. The battles continue. It seems to be getting to a point where the conditions are changing on the track, ever changing, and it's creating a few errors on track. I think we just saw the Rebellion, one of the Rebellion Lolas, do a little spin. There's been a few Ferrari trips to the gravel trap. Mm-hmm. But the Audi and Toyota battle continues up front.
Sorry, you guys keep going. I'm trying to get the live
timing and scoring.
Yeah, the live timing and scoring up again, full screen.
So we have Audi leading, Toyota back in second place. The whatever mathematics is going on with speed versus economy seems to be creating a little more of a balance than everyone I think expected, to be frank. Both teams had talked about not knowing what the other hand was held by the other teams, but they all knew that it was going to be tough stuff, just as it was at the end of the WEC season. So Anthony Davidson is back in the Toyota TS030 number 8, if I recall, and he is right there in P2. The Audis are right behind him. The other Toyota is in P3, so whatever rebooting they needed to do trackside has not cost them in terms of performance. In P2, Oak Racing is showing their position. Now, I'm not sure, I should check which one is in P2. Let's see, we've got, no, neither of the art cars are running. Oak has an art car running, but the Oak Nissans are up there. Morgan chassis, that is the P2 performance. It's all Nissan as you expected. Level 5, I might add, is probably breaking into the top 5. That's the American entry with Scott Tucker. And I think Marino Franchitti in that car as well. In GT Pro, Aston Martin, who, as Mike mentioned earlier, is running 5 cars between the Pro and the AM class. So you know their head is down in a number of ways, and the resolve is probably hardened still. Porsche, lo and behold, the new Porsche 911 is a fast race car and a Le Mans race car. They tweaked the aero. They got a little bit of balanced performance brake after Spa. They've got a pro team. You mentioned Manthey.
They did.
They've got great drivers, factory drivers. No offense to Patrick Long in the amateur car. And they're battling with Aston Martin for those 3 podium spots. And in Pro-Am, I think Ferrari has taken the forefront. AF Corsa. AF Corsa is another one of these dominant teams, not a factory team, but they always seem to have cars everywhere. Pro cars, amateur cars, and they're even involved with the P2 entry, PCOM Racing.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where we sit. We're seeing a struggle from a performance standpoint right now from Corvette and Viper, but the race is far from over.
Yeah.
The DNFs have not started.
So
but we just saw a very interesting shot, just a glimmer of it, where the rear brakes were all lit up in the Audi.
I love those shots. I love the lit up brake shots. And by the way, I think we should mention that we are in that period when Audi's done its pit stop, its fueling stops, and Toyota hasn't done its next one yet. So we're in the gap right now.
Okay.
Where Audi's done 4 and Toyota's only done 3. So we're, as we mentioned before, Toyotas can carry an extra 2 laps with the extra fuel that they've got on board. So, it's right now the Audi and Toyota battle is kind of going along academically in at the top of the list right here.
And by the way, my math class never did a 3-minute 23 lap around 8.5 miles, 13 plus kilometers. So it's academically at freaking speed, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty much right at the level that everybody was talking about in qualifying.
Viewer comments, I know we've lost a number.
All right, so yeah, I mean, a lot of the viewers are talking about the tragedy that happened to Alan Simonson. It was 34, actually. Would have been his birthday next week. Rebellion front end damage, but again, we're 30 seconds. There's a 30-second lag for us, so that's why we're not staying on top of every single thing that's happening in the race. That you guys are actually letting us know a lot of stuff. But we could kind of get into. I think we haven't talked about yet is Ferrari a little bit more, because we haven't. I mean, we've been talking about Aston Martin for tragic reasons, and also kind of
smiling at the wrong time.
Well, just playing. I was going to do the tragedy second. I should have. No, but for tragic reasons and also for fairly heroic reasons right now, that
Dominance.
Aston's just doing extremely well in GT. But Ferrari, you know, the Corsa team.
Well, the Ferrari 458 is probably the most developed GT race car out there.
True.
If you think about it, the Corvette C6R has had a certain life to its part, but they did an update of the car when they went to this whole ZR1 type look and feel and tweaks. The Porsche is brand new. The Aston Martin is evolving and clearly was quicker. But the car that has had the most work behind it to make it a true race car has been the 458.
Yeah.
It's always been quick. It's always been a winner. Matter of fact, in the 2 WEC races leading up to Le Mans, our 2 winners have been a Ferrari and an Aston Martin. So it's no surprise that this car is going to dominate in terms of being competitive at Le Mans. And it is last year's GTE winner.
Yes.
And of course, at Le Mans, got the job done when everyone else kind of tripped over their carbon fiber body parts.
Oh, I was going to say something else. But no, all right. So that's the deal with them right now. A little bit behind the curve, then. So they need just a little bit
behind the curve.
Nah.
How did I?
Well, I mean, off the pace a little bit. But let's talk about another thing, though. Corvette, are they stumbling because they're in between development years? Are they waiting until the C7? I mean, because they had to pull resources off of the current C6 car to put toward the C7 car. Do you think that's affected the outcome today at all?
Only Corvette Racing can answer that, to be blunt. But from my understanding, it's not as black and white as that type of picture, or as you would paint in F1, developing a new car versus an old car. Let's be honest, the C7R is going to have a lot of transition pieces from the C6R, just as the C7, from a road car standpoint, is an extension of the C6.
Right.
No, I think you're looking at a couple of things. I think, number one, the bar has been raised in terms of the competitiveness of the other cars. Even last year, Corvette won the championship in American Le Mans, but they didn't dominate. Very competitive. I reached out to Corvette Racing. They negated a little bit of the commentary that the Michelin tire they're running here at Le Mans is a different spec from the tire that they run in the American Le Mans series. Now, they negated that, but I would argue in their defense that there probably is some experience that needs to be factored in to adjust the race car to the tires. The tires are, as we know, looking at F1 and everything, all important and all critical. No, it seems like Corvette, for whatever reasons, is where they are with their balance of performance, and a bunch of little niggling things just haven't allowed them to find the magic setup. They could also probably defend themselves and say, we went to the test and it was all rain, so we never found our true speed.
Yep.
Qualifying was mixed conditions, same thing. There were red flags, there were traffic, but bottom line, all of that was the same for everyone. Well, Aston Martin flies, Corvette hasn't found their place.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I mean, so to look back at the top of the list right now, so LMP, so Toyota and Audi are now in parity. They're all at four fueling stops right now. So we are.
But I would argue too that is not the parity equation, because at the end of this race, Toyota will have fewer pit stops than Audi.
Right. So Audi, as we have mentioned before, Audi needs to do a 2.5 better a lap through the whole race.
According to their math.
According to their math, if Toyota's, if Toyota cars are as robust as they hope they are.
Yeah, hey, can I interrupt you guys for a second?
Yes, absolutely.
Get on
camera.
Our buddy from Jalopnik.
Yeah.
Is Travis.
So one of the questions was, who else is coming on? And we got Travis Okulski, which
Travis, why don't
I just pronounced.
You want to join us at the desk?
I was told to sit on the couch. Oh, no, you can.
I'm going to change someone's mind.
Okay.
Come on.
I'll join you at the desk. Sure.
I'm going to actually give you a better seat. Right there.
Oh, cool. I get to be Leo.
No.
All right.
You get to be Travis.
Why don't you? Yeah. Well, Leo, do you want to?
I'm taking a break for a second.
You're going to take a break. All right. Cool.
Don't worry about it.
Seat's nice and warm. Thanks, Leo.
Yeah.
Is your lav on?
It's on. It's on.
Yeah, is it?
Oh.
Very on.
So yeah, we got so Travis's while Travis works out his audio problems, I'm going to introduce well, you know who Travis is from Jalopnik.com. What's your title?
Senior something or other.
Senior something or other.
Senior writer.
Senior writer. Senior editor, senior writer.
Writer, editor.
Senior writer, editor.
Doesn't matter.
Recently, what did you just drive? You just drove a McLaren?
Yeah. Just drove the 12C on Wednesday. And
Yeah.
It was, it's all downhill.
Right, a
from
car.
there, I think. The rest of my
You're
life.
just spoiled.
That's it.
You're spoiled for the
Yeah,
rest
I'm
of your
spoiled
life.
for the rest of my life.
I don't blame you. I think that's amazing. I love that car. Yeah,
And
I
we
do.
drove like an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, so Leo
That's an hour
did,
more than I've ever driven it.
Well,
It was a great
so
hour.
you should be happy.
That was a great time.
Leo did turn his mic off when he went to the restroom this time. So okay, so we've made a successful transition. Probably the worst pit stop in the history of racing.
Yeah.
So what the hell is up? What are you doing?
I was following along all morning. I was going to come in a little earlier, but obviously with what just happened,
Yeah.
we had to.
Yes, exactly. So
that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I know. You know, when you guys, Jalopnik is also covers hard news, and when something like this happens, it's I mean, there's a kind of a respect period where you say, you know, you have to make sure that it's confirmed, and we were wondering for a while that it hadn't been reported, and people started hearing it on different. And it's funny when you have commenters from all around the world, right? So Danish TV was reporting it.
I saw it on a random Twitter from a guy I know in Canada.
Yeah.
That's the first time I saw it. Not seen a report of that. If you report it once it's confirmed based on the ACO statement or something.
Right, exactly.
And it just, and especially now because we have this week, we had Jason Leffler the other week.
Yes.
Dan Weldon's 35th birthday would be today.
Wow.
So, and apparently Simonson was only a week younger than Weldon.
Yeah, they were both
So,
early 34, early 30s. Yeah, I mean it's you know, it's one of those things you never want to see, and
but it is part of racing, and you know, it happens. It happens, still happens. I mean, the crash was reminiscent. The accidents are a left-hand drive too in the race, right?
and he hit on the. I
Did he hit
thought he hit on the opposite
It
side.
did look like he hit on the opposite side.
So,
maybe the right-hand drive, because the driver's side impact is obviously worse.
Yeah.
in a car like
Because it didn't, you know, I mean, you say, well, it didn't look, you know, if you look back at Dale Earnhardt, it didn't look like he did much either. But I mean, obviously, racing is a different level.
In the middle of our.
I know people want to hear what you have to say.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Just stick this on, and then you can put it in your shirt later. You know.
And
so
we're
that
working
you
on Travis's mic. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll take my shirt off for you.
No, thanks.
Yeah, I had just seen the onboard, the video from the Corvette that was behind Simonson.
Yeah.
That was awful.
I didn't.
too.
I actually haven't seen that yet. It looks, you know.
I mean, you don't see the aftermath. You only see the crash beginning to happen because he
Yeah.
gets onto the rumble strip and then it just darts left right into the wall. It stinks.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of speculation of what happened. It was
Right.
a mechanical issue, maybe a suspension part or something. But it's a shame. So how? By the way, I got to ask you guys, how's the audio? Because we don't have any. Unless Josh can hear.
We don't have any way to tell.
We don't have a way to tell
Especially
whether.
not Josh.
And first of all, okay, so Aston is right-hand drive. He hit the driver's side. Yes.
Okay.
That
would be why. It's like that crash Jerry Nadeau had in NASCAR ages ago.
Yeah.
Driver's side. He didn't die, but I think he fractured his skull and a whole bunch of other stuff, and that's where you don't want to hit. Obviously.
Right. That's
So-
and also, so if your audio is bad, try to re-up, refresh, whatever the word is, refresh. All right. So now what? There's a low-pitched hum that's effing terrible.
Yeah, that's our effing terrible air conditioner.
Wait. There's static. There's some static noise.
Static. I'm listening. There's no static.
All right, then do it.
Oh, now there's right at that moment.
Right at that moment, there's static.
I'm sorry, guys. Static guy.
This is odd. Oh, weird. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's my fault.
Yeah?
We'll just blame it on me.
Were you sitting on your...
No, it's here, but I'm the new guy.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll just blame it on me.
All right.
So... Yeah.
Yeah, re-up. Yeah, I'll do that.
Well, I talked to JF earlier, and I legitimately hate him.
For being there?
For being there, totally do. But hopefully he said he's going to have some cool pictures for us and everything coming up, so that's good.
That's true. All right, so what are we talking about?
You tell me. I'm just here to hang out.
Really?
Racing. So
we could talk some racing. I mean,
well, so they got the number 7 stopped on track before.
Yes.
Did they ever? I missed that part of it.
So we don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Here's our little secret is that we're behind, so we're not going to be able to talk about what's happening right now. We can only sort of maybe drink a lot, perhaps later, and just kind of, give as much insight as we can on this thing.
Right.
And just kind of watch it with you guys. Hot Pockets. Who's making the Hot Pockets today? Roy White asks. I think that will be Ian. Will be making the Hot Pockets.
Heard Farrah was bringing the Hot Pockets.
Okay. Anyway, so we're back to talking about racing.
Yeah.
Storylines right now. I mean, we're Audi and Toyota,
and we're on. Was it 3 or 4 pit stops right now for the Audis?
Okay, so all the Audis and all the Toyotas are on 4, and all the gasoline-powered prototypes.
The plebes that don't have the funds
it's
to
a shame.
make a hybrid, right?
Yeah, Rebellion and Straka, the Swiss wonders. Car runs on chocolate, I heard.
Oh,
no,
yeah?
it doesn't, and that's a terrible joke. Okay, so they're all on 4. They're all on 4 pits. They're doing, I think the fastest prototype right now is, the number 1 Choulier Audi.
And I was expecting McNish and Duval and Christensen to actually win. So that does not appear the case at the moment, especially if they're 48 seconds behind. We're only 4 hours in, and something could happen. But
yeah,
Trullier and
all right. So what's your favorite class right now in this? What are you watching more than any other?
P1.
You're a P1, like straight up P1.
I like P1 just because I like all the tech.
So you're the nerd at the I was talking about nerdiness before, but you're right. What it is about P1 that
it harkens
dig. What it is about P1.
It harkens back, to the days of the late 90s when you had Porsche, you had Toyota, you had Nissan, right. You had everybody competing with cars that looked incredible, were incredibly fast, were actually prototypes. That's what they are. I think next year it'll be a lot better.
So you're going all the way back to Group C, because we've been talking about Group C before.
I'm going a little ahead. I'm going to the GT1. So I'm going pre-open top, post Group C.
Yeah, Leo and I were having a little discussion. So you're talking about the flippy Mercedes era.
Talking about CLR, CLK GTR,
exactly.
R390.
When GT pushed so hard into technology that they actually became like prototype cars.
Right. When then all of a sudden they just made prototype cars instead.
And it was like, all right, we've gone so far.
When you have they have to make 50 cars to be road legal or whatever, and there's 50 or however many Toyota TS020s you can drive on the road and all that sort of thing. I think that's the era I grew up in too. Right. I was like 12.
But that's true. No, but Leo and I were having that discussion too. Is if you grew up in that, because the 90s were a sort of, there was a resurgence of Le Mans in the mid 90s to the late 90s that I think, to me, it's like, all right, so I'm a little older.
Yeah.
Don't let 28. But so my era was like the batshit Group C era, right? So it was like 250 on Mulsanne, up to the Mulsanne. That's good. But next year I'm expecting 275.
Right.
I want 300 by the end of the decade. But again, that got too expensive. They were running F1 engines
too.
And dangerous and really dangerous. And so, they sort of. GT, and then there was the recession in the early 90s, so they kind of, GT was cheaper to do, and F1 engines are really expensive, so they kind of screwed up the prototype classes at that point, and then GT was the big thing.
Right.
So then GT grew into GT1, so by the end of the decade, the 90s, it was
it ebbs and flows with the financial, qualities of the world, I guess.
Right.
Because in the late 90s, we're doing really well. We've got factory teams from nearly everybody that's great in
Yeah.
the top class. Then we keep having that, and then we hit a recession. Now we've got 2. Next year we'll have 3, at least, with Porsche, Toyota, and Audi. That's their name.
Yeah. And then you've got Bentley going into GT.
And Bentley, I mean, I think has an eye on coming back there too.
That would be interesting because Bentley, what was that?
It was 03. It was
03 for Bentley.
Yeah, it was the year that Audi that was decided within Volkswagen that Bentley will win this year.
Right. Well, they had its own class, right? Didn't?
Well, there was the GT. It was GT. Wasn't it GTP? Is what it was called or something?
It was
because it was the only closed-top car.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then they decided that all the R8s will be privateer cars, and we're going to run 1 Speed 8, or no, 3 Speed 8s, or however many they ran that year, to win the race.
Yeah.
Now and they did.
Yeah.
And now they don't run them anymore because they wanted Audi to win the next 10 years.
Right.
And
but so now here you are, having grown up in that era, and now now it's sort of a pretty virulent time in the prototype world, right?
Right. Yeah.
If only poor Peugeot, I think I would, or Peugeot, if you're Poukiot.
Yes.
If Poukiot would only come back, I mean, because yeah, it's only.
That's why I was looking forward to last year.
Yeah.
Because I thought that it was going to be Peugeot, Toyota, and Audi. Yeah. And for some reason, I don't have no reason not to like them, but I don't want to see Peugeot or Toyota win ever. I don't know why. And I'm not like an Audi fanboy.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Right.
But
I mean, why?
I don't.
Like Toyota?
There's no reason. I have no reason. But next year, I've already predicted Porsche's going to win the whole race, and I want that to happen.
Well, okay.
That's my official.
So
prediction.
Travis, you're getting static, dude. Hey, Josh, can you hear static coming from his mic?
Did I?
Yeah, but what do you want me to do?
Oh, I don't know. Turn the knob. I don't know.
I don't know.
Do your freaking job over there. He sounds all right?
That sounds good.
Yeah, just because one guy complained.
No, I'm just.
No, seriously. When you see 30 people comment and say, "Oh, we got a problem."
Yeah.
Josh, can you hear me?
While we're killing Ben's ears, I'm Mr. Jalopnik, according to Ben.
Hey, Ben. Yeah,
I'm sorry, Ben. I'll stop moving around.
Travis, Mr. Jalopnik.
I'll stop moving around.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Nice and clear.
Ian has such a nice timbre to his voice.
I know, Ian's like.
Talk to you guys all night long.
You should be doing the voiceovers.
I should. I'd be happy to.
All right.
Well, you're too tall for the camera.
Yeah, you're definitely too tall.
Sorry.
No, because the thing is, like we were just talking about. Ian uses the fat lens on me all the time, so I'm sitting in that chair. I look like I'm smuggling spare tires into the joint.
I had to choose very carefully what I wore today based on.
When I use the fat lens, it's a plot to eventually make you just give up and leave.
It's like if people make fun of me enough, I'm gonna leave. That's not gonna happen. So that's all right. But you do fine. Oh ha! Racing is racing. The sound is horrible. Oh wait, that's just them talking. Yeah, that's a great joke. I've heard that one.
I've been told I have a very nice voice.
You have a great voice.
Great voice. It's deep.
I think I got the greatest voice in here, you son of a bitch. Go ahead, get the F out of here, you freaking mook. All right, sorry, go ahead.
But to talk, I guess, about Toyota in general, I know you guys just did the whole package on them, but Toyota in motorsport, it's rare that they're a huge success if you look at it as a whole.
But it is not rare that they throw a freak load of money at it.
They throw a freak load of money at it, but it takes so when they went into Champ Car and IndyCar back in the late 90s, early 90s, they were awful forever. They were awful until Chip Ganassi decided he's going to put Toyota engines in his car, and then Montoya won the first race for them. I think it was at Michigan in like 2000. That's the first time Toyota won a race after 4 years of competition there. In World Rally they won, but then they got banned.
And they cheated.
Because they cheated, which doesn't work out very well.
Yeah, but and again, there's the cheating, and then there's messing with the rules. Like Leo and I were talking about the was it? I guess it would have been the equivalent of GT1 back in the mid '90s when they had the MR2 with the 8-cylinder. What was it? The Sard
MR2.
car.
Yeah,
very good. Sard MR2, racing neck and neck kind of with the Supra at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Toyota's.
Well, then there was TSO10. Didn't win.
Right.
TSO20. Tons of money there. Didn't win.
Yeah, that's right. Those
F1,
are
the biggest budget in F1.
What was that? $500 million a year.
At least that's what they said, but it's got to be more. It's probably more than that.
So $500 million means $1 billion.
It's all bad decisions though, because they would hire people that they thought were the flavor of the month. They hired, it was Mike Gascoigne, I think they hired,
Ah.
who's not a terrible design. He designed one Renault that won. Then he went to Toyota. Then he's been on a downward trajectory since Renault.
What Renault did he did he do a Benetton?
No, I think it was when Renault was running a real wide-angle V10.
Okay.
The first car that Alonso was winning.
05, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
because the car.
Or 04 or 05? 04 into 05 was the 05 season, right? God, I don't remember. It's already.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But then there was, F1. They played Michael Schumacher money to have Ralph Schumacher drive the car.
Oh, snap, dude!
Yeah. And then that's very good.
Wow.
I heard that from somebody else.
Sorry, appropriation of jokes is if there was no appropriation of jokes, I'd have no jokes at all.
I just wanted to let everyone know they wanted Leo fall on the car. Yes, Leo's gone.
No, Leo's coming back. Don't worry about it.
That's
He's I don't know where he went. His chair is empty. Well,
I'm in his chair.
You're in his chair.
Like it's a swivel.
He's around somewhere. I don't know. We got to find him.
But once Toyota almost came good in F1,
yeah,
they quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would also corresponded with a serious economic downturn, or F down, as we like to call it.
Yes, as us in the know. And the us economic scholars, as we like to call ourselves,
That's right.
we typically
But they
do say that.
they spent billions on nothing.
On nothing. They have,
well, no, they didn't spend billions on nothing. So they spent billions, and now they have a fantastic race shop that they farm out, and they other people are doing great development work at their race shop.
Yeah, and I guess they're doing great development.
Well, now
too.
they are too.
But
yeah.
this car, I don't know. Right now, if a car turns off on Lausanne Straight with no one knows what happened,
yeah,
it's not a good sign.
Yeah,
particularly. Oh. So it looks like.
It looks like. Which car is that?
That is the.
By the way, we are 30 seconds behind, but so something happened.
On the track.
On the track?
Possibly. It looks like one of the Audis just ran straight through one of the chicanes. That's the shortcut I take in Gran Turismo.
Ran through chicane? We ran right through it. But who's
the number 3 car?
That's behind him is the closed cockpit.
That's a T128, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lotus.
The Lotus, yeah.
The Lotus. I'm sorry.
The Lotus.
Yeah.
The paid for Lotus branded.
But that's a Lotus brand, and so does does Lotus pay anything to them to brand it? Right? So is this one of the leftovers from the Danny Bahar, let's go racing in every single thing and pay as much money as we can?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know when the contract was signed, but it might have been the Bahar era contract.
Because he ruined everything. That guy stunk.
Well, I mean,
as far as I'm concerned,
honestly, I mean, Lotus is in a quandary, and I don't know what I would do right now if I were Lotus, but other than put my name on cars that aren't ours. That's it.
Let's complicate and.
Timo Glock, I forgot. Anyway, by the way,
Timo Glock.
Yeah.
What about him?
Tim O'Glock?
Yeah,
he's
an Irishman.
He's an Irishman now.
Oh, hello, it's me, Tim O'Glock.
Oh, it's me, Tim O'Glock.
Some potatoes.
Your Irish accent is I think it's in some ways better than mine, and some ways worse. I always say it's sometimes worse.
Oh,
you son of a...
Oh, do you want some potato soup and a Guinness?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that would be delicious. We'll put it on a pizza.
That's terrible.
There's actually, this is totally off racing, but there's a Long Beach Island, New Jersey, there's a pizzeria that actually got, I think, flooded during the hurricane, so now it's moved, but it was called O'Malley's Pizza.
Yes.
It's O'Malley's Pizza, the finest Irish pizza on all of Long Beach Island. Oh, potatoes. Potato pizza.
Is that County Clerk? What county are you from there?
I'm not entirely certain.
It's fine. But O'Malley's Pizza, I've heard of it. I've never been there.
Don't.
Don't?
I can't imagine it being good.
Yeah. All
I
right,
haven't gone either.
So what else about this race are you looking at as a fan of racing? And a former kart racer, actually.
Yes,
a lot of people don't know this about you. You're the Stig of Jalopnik right now.
I guess so.
I mean, because, I've seen you drive the crap out of some stuff.
Yeah, I know how to drive decently. It doesn't look like I do as a person sometimes, but because I'm tall and gangly and I can't fit in a lot of race cars very easily. But I can drive somewhat.
By the way, I apologize to the Irish. I just want to.
Yes.
We love your country. We don't want to alienate everyone.
I can do some other. My Irish accent turns into an Indian accent after a little while.
You know, I've heard that about mine too, and from an Irishman said, you know what? I don't understand what you're saying. That sounds like an Indian accent.
Yeah.
What are you from, Bangladesh?
I've also been told my Australian accent sounds like a terrible impression of Steve Irwin. But enough on accents. We've got the number 3 Audi here in the pits.
Yeah.
I told JF to go down in the pits just because I wanted to see him running around in a fire suit. And because he has to put a fire suit on. You have to put a fire suit on to go in the pits. So I told JF to go in the pits to take some pictures for us.
Yeah, I think, you know, right now we're sort of just waiting for JF to amass a bunch of content for us from Le Mans. So
we have actually already amassed.
So what can we run? Let's run something.
Why don't you look at the list in front of you?
Oh, dag, Leo took it. What?
No, it's right there.
Dag, yo.
We have the segment with Derek Bell driving the circuit.
I think, all right, so it's not wet, so we don't want to do the wet driving one.
It is wet, no?
It's damp.
It's damp, but it's not
greasy?
like, it's a little greasy, but it's not raining.
Yeah.
Let's, okay, so what are you looking at? Why don't we do
the Audi profiles again?
Why don't we do the,
Have we done the Corvette profile?
You're not looking at GT. What's your, you want to do the Viper profile?
Yeah, I want to do
Why don't you run the Viper profile? We haven't seen it.
run that.
You run that Viper, gorgeous Viper profile.
Ralph Gilles, president and CEO of SRT, defined the reasons for the return of Viper to the racetrack. His reference to Riley is Riley Technologies, the storied race car builder that handles the construction and racing of the 2 new SRT Viper GTSRs. Return to Le Mans was the logical extension of the new Viper program, as the car dominated its GT class with 3 straight years of winning in 1998, 99, and the year 2000. And Viper was a truly international racer back then. In addition to Le Mans, Viper took home 3 Nürburgring 24 wins, 2 Spa 24 wins, victories at Daytona, Sebring, the Petit Le Mans, GT championships in France, Italy, Belgium, and 5 FIA GT Series crowns. Viper, now and then, does its racing the old-fashioned way. First, a close connection to street car design, making the GTSR race car an extension of technology you can buy. And second, when racing demands more speed, Viper's answer is good old-fashioned big motor cubic inches or liters. 8 liters of V10 power go up against the much smaller displacements of its Corvette, Ferrari, Porsche, and Aston Martin competition at Le Mans, and BMW in the American Le Mans Series. The GTE rules say only 5.5 liter maximum engine size, like on the Corvette. But the FIA ACO grant Viper a technical waiver because they want Viper to race with them so dearly. The big engine is compromised with a highly restricted air intake to create a balance of performance. And while it chokes Viper down on revs and horsepower way below its potential, it cannot take away the advantage the big V10 has in torque. So acceleration off the corners is a Viper strength. And fans can clearly recognize the low-throated Viper roar versus a Ferrari scream or Porsche revs. Aerodynamics are maximized for low drag at Le Mans. Weight has been coming down and redistributed around the car to create better handling. Advanced race car design, suspension configuration, tuning, and component technologies make Viper an ever stronger threat to win again.
The Corvette's always dark.
Since you're not looking at me, you don't know.
Sorry, we were catching up on where the Vipers and the Corvettes were.
Yeah, well, so what do you think of the Viper?
I love seeing the Viper back. It was a great rivalry back in GT. That was the GT1 after it was the awesome GT1.
Right, right.
So seeing Corvette and Viper back and forth again is great, but now they're in a much more competitive class.
Yeah.
Because the current GT Pro, you have Porsche, you have Aston, Corvette,
and you've got
Viper.
Aston coming just strong this year.
Aston's on a mission.
They are on a mission.
If they have 100 years, they want to win everything possible right now.
Right.
And I feel like, I don't know how they got so far up, because they weren't that quick in the past either, last year at least.
Well, they're off the pace pretty significantly, but you know, they're considering considering this year another development year.
Right.
But you know, it's. I mean, they're. You know, they are. When they add that thing to the race where. What? It's the stuttering.
It's greasier out there than Spinelli's hair.
It's not greasy. You know what? That's called conditioned, buddy. No, we're good. No, but the cool thing about having Viper back is it adds that kind of like redneck, angry appeal that Corvette kind of has sort of let slide a little bit.
Sure.
I like it.
It's also just a great American rivalry to have in France. I feel like it's a great, you know, when you had the Orica Vipers and then the original Vets, the C5Rs, going back and forth with each other, and then it's just great to see the two greatest American sports cars fighting with each other on the track in the greatest endurance race in the world. And I feel like having them in a lower class with more competition, in the past would have been better when Corvettes were, you know, they were really fast the last couple of years. This year, I don't know what's going on with the Vets to be behind so many Porsches,
well, that's the question.
Ferraris too.
That's really the question with the Corvette is has their focus on C7 next year, and you know, to a lot of people, the big rules change for 2014 means that this year is kind of a lame duck year, and that it's not a year where everybody's putting a lot of money into it. But it looks like, you know.
Well, is that why then Aston's doing so well?
Well,
because Aston decided to develop a car big time for their 100th year because they know everyone else isn't going to, well, ProDrive develop a car that's insanely good. And then the 911s, the two 911s that are up front, aren't they 991s this time? They're the only year they're going to be running these ones. Apparently they're going to change them again for 2014. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
So they're going to have, so these are the two newest cars leading the race. Then you've got a C6R, which has been around now for God knows how long. You've got a Viper.
05?
Yeah, it's an old car compared to everything else. And you've got the Viper, which is new, but still needs a lot of development. And especially if there's going to change, you got to work on the stutter.
I know, it's
Mike.
It's funny because
that Southern Arrow, he's all over it.
Southern Arrow is all over it. All right,
I see what you did there.
You like how I did that?
It wasn't on purpose either.
All right, so you know, the idea that it's a throwaway year. You know, you can't escape the fact that it's possible that's what's happening. All right, so let's look at a couple of.
Let's see what's.
Let's see.
Actually, looks like it's getting brighter and drier on track now.
Yeah, but I mean, let's see if we got any. You guys have any questions or something? Because this is the point in the hour that we're supposed to take questions. What are the fans saying?
The fans are saying they want Swedish cars in the race.
Swedish cars. Well, where are they? Right. So we've got Volvo.
Get that Koenigsegg
would be a natural to come back, right? Because they've got their touring car thing going on.
Right.
They have that tradition, but unfortunately now they're owned by